Justin. David Hayward is an English musician, best known as songwriter, lead singer and guitarist in the rock band the Moody Blues. Hayward was born in Dean Street, Swindon, Wiltshire, England, and educated at Shrivenham School in Berkshire, and the Commonweal School in Swindon. Early career: Hayward was playing in several bands as early as age 15 when he bought his Gibson 335, a guitar that appears on nearly all of his records throughout his career, and a Vox AC30 amplifier. All previous guitars were unsatisfactory, and required modification. He performed with local Swindon groups in clubs and dance halls playing mostly Buddy Holly songs. One of Hayward's early groups was All Things Bright, which opened for the Hollies and Brian Poole and the Tremolos. At age 17, he signed an 8-year publishing contract as a songwriter with the skiffle artist and record producer Lonnie Donegan, a move Hayward later regretted as it meant the rights to all his songs written before 1974 would always be owned by Donegan's Tyler Music. In 1965 he answered an advertisement in Melody Maker and auditioned as guitarist for Marty Wilde, and he went on to work with Wilde and his wife in the Wilde 3. The Moody Blues. In 1966, after answering another ad in Melody Maker, this time placed by Eric Burden of the Animals, Hayward was contacted by Mike Pinder of the Moody Blues after Burden had passed on Hayward's letter and demo discs to Pinder. Within a few days Hayward had replaced departing Moody Blues vocalist and guitarist Denny Laine. Bassist John Lodge replaced temporary deputy Rod Clark, who had stood in for departed bassist Clint Warwick at the same time. After beginning by singing the old blues-inspired repertoire of the Moody's 1964–1965 era, Hayward's initial artistic contribution to the Moody Blues was his song Fly Me High, which was a Decca single early in 1967. It failed to chart but gave the revised band a new direction forward from the R&B sound they had been largely producing up to that point. Hayward's driving rocker Leave This Man Alone was then used as B-side to the next Moody's single on Decca, backing Pinder's Love and Beauty, the first Moody's record to feature the Mellotron. Hayward's and Lodge's integration into the Moody Blues along with Pinder's use of the Mellotron sparked greater commercial success and recognition for the band, transforming them into one of pop music's biggest-selling acts. Hayward said of Pinder, "Mike and the Mellotron made my songs work." The 1967 album Days of Future Past, one of the first and most influential symphonic rock albums, gave rise to the Hayward-penned singles Tuesday Afternoon and Nights in White Satin. The latter record went on to sell over 2 million copies, charting 3 times in the UK, and has been recorded by many other recording artists. Hayward's B-side song Cities was an early ecology-themed item. Hayward became the group's principal lead guitarist-vocalist over the 1967–1974 period, and the most prolific songwriter and composer of several big hit singles for the band. During this time he wrote memorable album tracks including Tuesday Afternoon, Time to Get Away, Of Forever Afternoon, The Actor, Lovely to See You, Never Comes the Day, I Never Thought I'd Live to Be 100, Gypsy, It's Up to You, Dawning is the Day, The Story in Your Eyes, You Can Never Go Home, New Horizons, The Land of Make Believe, and Island. Hayward wrote the band's UK number 2 hit Question as well as Voices in the Sky, Driftwood, The Voice, Blue World, Your Wildest Dreams, I Know You're Out There Somewhere, English Sunset, and December Snow. In all, writing 20 of the group's 27 post-1967 singles. In addition to delivering the lead vocals on his own compositions, Hayward took a featured lead or co-led vocal on other band members' songs including Dawn Is a Feeling, Gimme a Little Something, Isn't Life Strange, Candle of Life, After You Came, I'll Be Level With You, The Spirit, and Nothing Changes. The Moody's attempts to come up with another hit single during 1967–68 saw them record 3 other Hayward compositions: Long Summer Days, King and Queen, and What Am I Doing Here?, all of which were then left unissued, but together with unissued songs by Pinder and Lodge later formed the studio side 4 of Decca's 1977 release. Called Live Plus 5, which largely comprised a December 1969 live recording of a concert at the Royal Albert Hall. Hayward also co-wrote album tracks with Ray Thomas: Visions of Paradise, Are You Sitting Comfortably, Watching and Waiting, and much later Never Blame the Rainbows for the Rain, plus later co-wrote many songs with John Lodge for the Moodies, notably Gemini Dream, Meet Me Halfway, Talkin', Want to Be With You, Once Is Enough, Strange Times, Sooner or Later among others. Hayward's songs have opened each of the Moodies albums in their post-Mike Pinder era since Long Distance Voyager in 1981, and his songs, both solo compositions and co-written with Lodge, plus his lead vocals, harmony voice, and guitar playing have been a major overriding factor in the band's work and continued success since 1981. Their album sales from 1978 to the present are more than 60 million. This is the regularly quoted total of their album sales, since the total sales of their albums before 1978 is disputed due to lack of official record company data. However, the period 1967 to 1974 was when their albums were charting highest in the UK and US plus worldwide. Days of Future Past topped the US album charts on reissue in 1972, then was followed into the album charts by the new studio album Seventh Sojourn. Hiatus and Blue Jays/solo work. In 1974, the Moody Blues decided to take what ended up being a 4-year break from performing and recording. Hayward continued working with Lodge and producer Tony Clark, using musicians from the Moody Blues label, Threshold, and sounding very much like the mother group. Together, they had a hit in 1975 with Blue Guitar, and released an album titled Blue Jays. In 1977 Hayward recorded his first solo album Songwriter. He enjoyed international solo success in 1978 when he appeared on Jeff Wayne's musical version of the War of the Worlds concept album, which yielded his hits Forever Autumn, and The Eve of the War. Wayne later contributed to Hayward's 1980 album Night Flight. Hayward issued a rare non-album single Marie C.W. Heart of Steel in April 1979, both sides composed by him, the A-side dedicated to his wife. These tracks were later included among the bonus tracks on a CD reissue of his Songwriter solo album in 2004. During the 1980s, Hayward composed and performed for film and television, including the theme song It Won't Be Easy for the 1987 BBC Two science fiction series Star Cops, Something Evil, Something Dangerous for the film Howling 4, the original Nightmare, Eternal Woman for the film She and music for the animated television series The Shoe People. In 1989, with producer-arranger Mike Batt, Hayward released Classic Blue, an album of pop standards written by other composers, set to orchestration arranged by Batt. Classic Blue included a cover version of Led Zeppelin's hit Stairway to Heaven. Hayward's solo album, The View from the Hill, was released in 1996, and a live recording, Live in San Juan Capistrano, followed in 1998. On March 10, 1997 Hayward was featured on the BBC One's programme This Is Your Life, with Michael Aspel. Hayward contributed vocals to a song on Rick Wakeman's 1999 album Return to the Center of the Earth. In June 2003, he gave several performances at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Later that year he sang along with other rock singers on another orchestral album, consisting of Moody Blues songs with the Frankfurt Rock Orchestra, titled Justin Hayward and Friends Perform the Hits of the Moody Blues. Hayward was later involved in a legal dispute since resolved, arguing he was not paid for his participation on the album. In April 2006, Hayward took part in the stage tour of Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds, reprising his role in autumn 2007 in Australia and in the UK in December 2007. He did so again in the UK in June 2009, and appeared on the tour in November and December 2010. The Moody Blues, with Hayward, Lodge and original drummer Graham Edge, continue to tour extensively, and in a recent BBC World Service interview, Hayward and Lodge made it clear they have no plans to stop working, regarding it as a privilege to still be working in the music industry. In an interview, in 2005, Edge said if he remained in good health, he could go on for 10 more years. In 2011, Hayward contributed to the Moody Blues Bluegrass tribute album Moody Bluegrass 2. Much Love along with Moody Blues bandmates Lodge, Edge, Thomas and Pinder. Hayward sang lead vocal on his song It's Cold Outside of Your Heart. Many other Hayward compositions are featured on this album, as well as 2004's Moody Bluegrass, a Nashville tribute to the Moody Blues. On December 10, 2011, Hayward along with Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull and Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden played a concert together at Canterbury Cathedral. In February 2013, Hayward released his solo album Spirits of the Western Sky on the Eagle Rock label. He toured solo with this album on the east coast of the USA in August 2013, to much acclaim, with Moody Blues keyboardist Alan Hewitt and vocalist Julie Rudgens. The opening act and accompanying guitarist in the main show was UK's Mike Dawes. The final show of the solo tour, in Atlanta, was recorded for a live DVD project and a live CD which were released in August 2014. In April 2015, Hayward was interviewed on BBC Radio 2's Johnny Walker Show. Instruments: for the most part, Hayward has used a red Gibson ES-335. Though he also uses other guitars in both performing and recording, including a 1955 Martin D28 Dreadnought, a James Olson 6-string acoustic, a Black Guild acoustic, a Squier Stratocaster, a Fender Telecaster, a Blonde Guild 12-string acoustic, and in 1967 a Black Gibson Les Paul. Between 1965 and 1968 he was without his Gibson 335 and relied on other instruments, most notably a 1964 Fender Telecaster and a hand-built 12-string guitar he had renovated for Donegan. However, in an interview included on the Lovely to See You concert DVD, Hayward says the 1963 Gibson 335 has been with him since 1967. Recently he has played a Collings D3 on stage and on recordings. Among other instruments, Hayward also played mandolin on A Question of Balance and sitar on In Search of the Lost Chord. He is a pronounced dislike of Ovation acoustic guitars and is one of the company's biggest critics. Personal life: written at the end of one love affair and the beginning of another, the song Nights in White Satin was, according to Hayward, in adoration of all women. Hayward was married on December 19, 1970. His daughter, who sings on the track Raised on Love on Hayward's 1977 album Songwriter, was born in 1972. In 2013 Hayward spoke of his learning transcendental meditation in 1967, along with other members of the Moody Blues. Awards: Hayward was awarded the first of numerous awards from the American Society of Composers, Authors and Publishers for songwriting in 1974. In 1985, the Moody Blues picked up the Ivor Novello Award for Outstanding Contribution to Music, and in 1988 Hayward received the Novello, among other honors, for Composer of the Year. In 2000, he was one of a handful of British artists to receive the Golden Note Award for Lifetime Achievement by ASCAP. In 2004, Hayward was awarded the Gold Badge for Lifetime Achievement by the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors. At the Ivor Novello Awards in London on May 16, 2013, Hayward was given the PRS for Music Award for Outstanding Achievement. Compositions: 1965 London Is Behind Me, 1966 Day Must Come, 1966 I Can't Face the World Without You, 1966 I'll Be Here Tomorrow, 1967 Fly Me High, 1967 Leave This Man Alone, 1967 City's B-side of Nights in White Satin, 1967 Long Summer Days, 1967 Tuesday Afternoon on Days of Future Past, 1967 Nights in White Satin on Days of Future Past, 1968 Voices in the Sky on In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968 Visions of Paradise on In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968 The Actor on In Search of the Lost Chord, 1968 King and Queen, 1969 What Am I Doing Here? 1969 Lovely to See You On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969 Never Comes the Day On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969 Are You Sitting Comfortably? On the Threshold of a Dream, 1969 Gypsy Onto Our Children's Children, 1969 Watching and Waiting Onto Our Children's Children, 1969 I Never Thought I'd Live to Be 100 Onto Our Children's Children, 1970 Question on A Question of Balance, 1970 It's Up to You on A Question of Balance, 1970 Dawning as the Day on A Question of Balance, 1971 Procession on Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, 1971 The Story in Your Eyes and Every Good Boy Deserves. Favor, 1971 You Can Never Go Home on Every Good Boy Deserves Favor, 1972 You and Me on Seventh Sojourn, 1972 New Horizons on Seventh Sojourn, 1972 The Land of Make-Believe on Seventh Sojourn, 1973 Island on Seventh Sojourn, 1973 The Dreamer on Seventh Sojourn, 1975 This Morning on Blue Jays, 1975 Remember Me on Blue Jays, 1975 My Brother on Blue Jays, 1975 Nights Winters Years on Blue Jays, 1975 I Dreamed Last Night on Blue Jays, 1975 Who Are You Now on Blue Jays, 1975 When You Wake Up on Blue Jays, 1975 Blue Guitar on Blue Jays, 1977 Tightrope on Songwriter, 1977 Songwriter on Songwriter, 1977 Country Girl on Songwriter, 1977 One Lonely Room on Songwriter, 1977 Lay It On Me on Songwriter, 1977 Stage Door on Songwriter, 1977 Raised on Love on Songwriter, 1977 Doin' Time on Songwriter, 1977 Nostradamus on Songwriter, 1977 Marie on Songwriter, 1977 Heart of Steel on Songwriter, 1977 Wrong Time Right Place on Songwriter, 1978 Had to Fall in Love on Octave, 1978 The Day We Meet Again on Octave, 1978 Driftwood on Octave, 1978 Top Rank Suite on Octave, 1980 Crazy Lovers on Night Flight, 1980 Nearer to You on Night Flight, 1980 A Face in the Crowd on Night Flight, 1980 Suitcase on Night Flight, 1981 The Voice on Long Distance Voyager, 1981 Gemini Dream on Long Distance Voyager, 1981 In My World on Long Distance Voyager, 1981 Meanwhile on Long Distance Voyager, 1983 Blue World on the Present, 1983 Meet Me Halfway on the Present, 1983 It's Cold Outside of Your Heart on the Present, 1983 Running Water on the Present, 1983 Eternal Woman, 1985 One Again on Moving Mountains, 1985 Take Your Chances on Moving Mountains, 1985 Is It Just a Game? On Moving Mountains, 1985 Moving Mountains on Moving Mountains, 1985 Silverbird on Moving Mountains, 1985 Who Knows? On Moving Mountains, 1985 Goodbye on Moving Mountains, 1985 Lost and Found on Moving Mountains, 1985 The Lights Are Low on Moving Mountains, 1985 The Angels Cry, performed by Agnetha Farkaranci LTSKOG and Annie Huslam, separately, 1986 Your Wildest Dreams on the Other Side of Life, 1986 Talkin' on the Other Side of Life, 1986 I Just Don't Care on the Other Side of Life, 1986 Running Out of Love on the Other Side of Life, 1986 The Other Side of Life on the Other Side of Life, 1986 Slings and Arrows on the Other Side of Life, 1986 Forever Autumn from Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds, 1987 It Won't Be Easy, 1988 I Know You're Out There Somewhere on Sur la Mer, 1988 Want to Be With You on Sur la Mer, 1988 River of Endless Love on Sur la Mer, 1988 No More Lies on Sur la Mer, 1988 Vintage Wine on Sur la Mer, 1988 Breaking Point on Sur la Mer, 1988 Miracle on Sur la Mer, 1988 Deep on Sur la Mer, 1989 Shoe People, 1989 Something Evil, Something Dangerous, 1991 Say It With Love on Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Bless the Wings on Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Is This Heaven? On Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Say What You Mean on Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Hope and Pray on Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Once Is Enough on Keys of the Kingdom, 1991 Never Blame the Rainbows for the Rain on Keys of the Kingdom, 1996 I Heard It on The View from the Hill, 1996 Broken Dream on The View from the Hill, 1996 It's Not Too Late on The View from the Hill, 1996 The Way of the World on The View from the Hill, 1996 Sometimes Less Is More on The View from the Hill, 1996 Troubadour on The View from the Hill, 1996 Shame on The View from the Hill, 1996 Billy on The View from the Hill, 1996 Children of Paradise on The View from the Hill, 1999 English Sunset on Strange Times, 1999 Haunted on Strange Times, 1999 Sooner or Later on Strange Times, 1999 Foolish Love on Strange Times, 1999 All That Is Real As You on Strange Times, 1999 Strange Times on Strange Times, 1999 The One on Strange Times, 1999 The Swallow on Strange Times, 2001 Water on Journey into Amazing Caves, 2001 We Can Fly on Journey into Amazing Caves, 2003 Don't Need a Reindeer on December 2003 December Snow on December 2003 In the Quiet of Christmas Morning on December 2003 Yes, I Believe on December 2013 In Your Blue Eyes on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 One Day, Someday on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 The Western Sky on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 The Eastern Sun on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 On the Road to Love on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 Lazy Afternoon on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 In the Beginning on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 What You Resist Persists on Spirits of the Western Sky, 2013 Captivated by You on Spirits of the Western Sky. Solo discography Studio albums Blue Jays with John Lodge UK No. 4, Songwriter UK No. 28, Night Flight UK No. 41, Moving Mountains UK No. 78, Classic Blue with Mike Batt UK No. 47, Justin Hayward and Friends sing the Moody Blues classic hits, The View from the Hill, Spirits of the Western Sky UK No. 81. Live albums Live and San Juan Capistrano, Spirits. Live. References. External links, Justin Hayward official site, 2005 Justin Hayward interview, Justin Hayward discography at Discogs, Tony Brown's Moody Blues Gallery. Biographical multimedia site, Justin Hayward biography at the AMG website.